are at the Big Four,
Yes.
which is, I think, the largest indoor separatism rally, I think, in Canadian history. I think we could just
No,
put.
I would say it was the largest indoor separatism rally since the UCP AGM in November.
Okay. 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 Fair enough. I was there and I
Me
felt the
too.
vibe. But I think
Yeah.
about so nearly 4,700 people. This dwarfs anything
No,
that
no,
we
I
saw.
have the exact official count from the
Okay.
Fire Marshal of Calgary, by the
Jeez.
way. So, and again, it was bigger than the indoor separatism rally held by
For
the
sure.
UCP in Edmonton. They had 4,300 people standing up and giving a standing ovation for Alberta independence. And in the Big Four building in Calgary, official number 4,960 of my fellow Albertans standing up and giving Alberta independence a standing ovation. It was wonderful.
Just wow.
And I think it's
Just
larger than
incredible.
anything that we have seen, like the 1995 Quebec nonsense. I think this is far more organized so far. The numbers are way larger than I think anything that anybody saw during the Quebec referendum. And the Quebec referendum very nearly went forward. But it was sort of halted by what the Federalists did, and that was called Project Fear, and that was sort of unleashing, the fear of an uncertain public who are worried about a continuity of services, which is really, at the end of the day, just paperwork. And we're seeing that happen right now. We're seeing the things that happened to the Freedom Convoy happen to the separatists. Oh, they're racist. Oh, they're fringe radicals.
Sure.
Oh, there's only one of them. Oh, they're foreign funded. Oh, it's Russian disinformation. This is just a bunch of severely normal people who do not deserve to be maligned by their former leaders, Jason Kenney.
Well, exactly. I mean, and something else I have to say, I was scrolling through my X feed this morning and I saw that Jason Kenney finally came out of the closet as an NDPer. So he's saying everybody has to work now with the NDP, that all, everybody on the Federalist side has to work together to defeat the forces of evil separatism. I mean, we were all waiting for Jason Kenney to come out of the closet. We just didn't know that it would be as a member of Nenchi's party, but there you go.
Good for him. Good
Yeah,
for him.
I think so too. I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Stunning and brave.
Stunning and
brave.
That's right.
Stunning and brave.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, Tamara, how does this feel for you? Like, this must feel like deja vu all over again to see the politicians line up to call everybody names.
That is exactly the word I was thinking of when you guys were just chatting about that, is deja vu. I see so many similarities between the way Albertans are being treated, as you just alluded to. And I've joked a few times on social media, like the next thing is we're going to all end up on the IMVE list, right? The ideologically motivated violent extremists, because that's what they do. They laugh at you, then they start calling you names and trying to discredit you. And then they're going to, you can see the rhetoric coming already, being called a traitor. If you ever Chipiuk's speech the other night at the rally, I watched it last night. It was absolutely amazing, and she's right.
So proud of Eva.
Seeking democracy and exercising the democratic process is not treason. And so we're already seeing the fear mongering start, as you said. But the flip side of that, though, and I haven't been to any of these rallies yet, Jeff, and I'm really looking forward to getting to some.
Well, I have a way for you. I have a way for you. When you see your PO today, explain to them that if you're canvassing for statefreealberta.com, right, that you would be doing that. As a volunteer for Elections Alberta, and that should count as community service. Like, why wouldn't ask the question, see what they say? I'd be interested.
Oh, we're sending her as a journalist to as many as possible. That's how we're doing it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
There's a role in here for her.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, though, to wrap up, is that on the opposite side, though, what I'm seeing is a lot of hope. I'm seeing Albertans in these lineups. They're excited. They're talking about their futures. And so in that respect, it's also very similar. They're coming together. I mean, the momentum is growing and people are excited, and good on you and Eva Chipiuk and the others that are putting the positive spin on this. You're not getting up there and talking about all of the things that we think we are going to lose. You're up there talking about all the things that we're going to gain. And
what are we gonna, but I mean, that's what I keep telling, like, what are we going to lose?
Exactly.
I keep challenging Danielle Smith, Jason Kenney, little Tommy the Commie Lukasic, give us one good reason that that Albertans will be better off if they stay in Canada. They can't do it. Like Danielle, like at one point, I've been challenging her in this regard for months, all year. And the best she can come up with is, well, we're more likely to get a pipeline if we stay in Canada. Well, we know that's BS. The Secretary of Treasury of the United States came out last week. He's the second most powerful man in the world in support of Alberta independence, and made it clear that the minute we're independent and we don't have Ottawa standing in the way of cross-border agreements, that we'll immediately have a pipeline to the Pacific Northwest through Montana, Idaho, Washington State, or Oregon. So, Danielle, if you want a pipeline, Mitch and Dennis and I have opened the door for you. Go talk to the U.S. State Department. They would welcome an Alberta pipeline through the Pacific Northwest, right? The second most powerful man in the world has said so. Like, we're doing the work for you. Go take advantage of it.
Now, I just want to shift lanes a little bit to talk about the sabotage of that event. So nearly 5,000 Albertans on a Monday of all days. Like, this isn't a Friday. This is a work day. School's the next day. Show up to, I guess, push for Western independence, hear speeches, put their names to paper to say that they were part of this. I was talking about this with my kids the other day, and I'm like, you know what? My grandkids are going to ask me what I was doing when we became free. And I'm going to say I was covering it. I was talking about it. I was advancing ideas. But the left, they can't beat you on ideas. So they do sneaky BS like what happened at the Big Four. Jeff, tell us about that.
Well, we know exactly who it was that did it. And I have to say, it wasn't, even though I've seen the AI and I've seen the cartoons, it wasn't Jason Kenney, it wasn't Naheed Nenshi, right? They were busy describing, I'm sure, like having a little cuddle and talking about how they're going to defend Alberta against us evil separatists. But no, I think it was an unfortunate gentleman. He was obviously an emotionally disturbed person. He came in, he signed the petition. Then he started freaking out about how he changed his mind, and he tried to rip the signature sheet out of our canvasser's hand. But there are other names on these sheets, and obviously it's an official Elections Alberta document. So, he was patiently explained that, look, we're going to take your name off in front of you. We'll delete your name, not a problem, et cetera, et cetera. And then he said, that's not good enough. And he runs and he pulls a fire alarm, right? So, it was kind of a little bizarre event, but unfortunately for him, obviously he'd given us his driver's license, he'd signed his name and address, et cetera,
he had his ID.
So the police are going to be having a very serious chat with this gentleman, because it was literally the equivalent of screaming fire in a crowded theater, right? Of course, you all noticed. I think you all noticed that Albertans don't flinch, right? So none of us moved. I just carried on, trying to talk over the fire alarm and then the robotic AI, announcement or whatever, because nobody was going anywhere, right? So, it was a really unfortunate event. And again, like I said, in fairness to Kenney and Nenshi, they have an alibi, and we know who did it. But that was, it is what it was, right?
Right. And I'm so glad that it didn't derail the event. It becomes a minor inconvenience in the grand scheme of things, but it seems as though nothing can derail this movement because it is happening, I think, at the exact right time. And it appeals to so many different people. Like when I go to these events to cover them, the amount of Zoomers that are there is overwhelming. Like our Zoomers are better than their Zoomers. Our boomers are better than their boomers because one wants a better life for their grandkids and one just wants to have what their grandparents had, and they see that they're not going to be able to have that inside of Confederation.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly.
And this is going to complicate things a little bit for the Conservative Party of Canada this weekend, who is having their convention in Calgary, in the epicenter of where this separatist sentiment is coming from, or independence sentiment is coming from. It's going to be real interesting to watch. Are you going, Jeff?
I might, just to take a lap and have a laugh, right? But I'd very much be the skunk at the picnic at that event, right? I've been toying with.
Since when are you worried about that, Jeff?
I haven't decided yet. But I think it's really sad for Pierre Poilievre because he's going to come to Calgary and we'll have had more people at our event in favor of Alberta independence then he's going to have conservatives from across the entire country coming to his event in Calgary. I mean, it's actually, like I said, I mean, I think they know the writing is on the wall. The days of the Conservative Party of Canada are over. The minute Alberta becomes independent from Canada, Canada becomes a one-party communist state, like it's already become. The end of Pierre Poilievre is in the future. I mean, I imagine that's why a lot of them are coming out and they're saying, former uniparty people like Jason Kenney are now joining with the communists and the NDP to fight independence. Pierre Poilievre will be doing the same thing. Like, nobody should forget that he campaigned in the last Alberta election on keeping the dairy monopoly and the dairy mafia in place, and keeping equalization in place and continuing to drain Alberta of $15 billion a year for the purpose of getting himself reelected or elected in Quebec. So, I keep telling people, like, don't forget, I mean, don't think for a minute that Pierre Poilievre is coming to Alberta to save you. Like, he's not, right?
No.
So let's just internalize that. Let's internalize the fact that he's not one of us. He doesn't belong here, and he's even admitted he doesn't belong here. He's already said he's not going to run in Battle River Crowfoot in the next federal election. And I think that's because he knows deep in his heart of hearts that Alberta is no longer going to be part of Canada. So there's no point in running, for Parliament from Alberta, because we're going to be gone.